My name is Christoph Baier. I'm one of the founders of Ambivation. And I'm happy to guide you a little bit through the story of the entrepreneurial journey, share a little bit some learnings, and share a little bit some experiences along the roller coaster ride. I'll move this away so you can see the screen in a good way and guide you through the topic. So first of all, of course, you should know why I'm talking to you and what I'm doing. So you can see my topics I'm focusing on with Ambivation. It's about connecting companies and startups for collaboration. You might also call it co-innovation, open innovation. So basically, this topic is very relevant for B2B startups. So if you're an entrepreneur that addresses B2B customers, then this topic will be very difficult for you and very important, I would say. First of all, to get feedback from companies on potential partners. Second of all, getting them to test, to pilot your innovation. And third of all, getting them to buy your products or to partner with you, for example, as a sales partner. That's where I focus with Ambivation on. My background is I also do a lot of startup mentoring, for example, with the most awesome accelerator program on earth, I heard before. One of the best, definitely, Explore. And personally, I have a background especially in industries like industrial production, real estate, software, and energy. Yeah, maybe that as a kickoff. And yeah, originally I'm from Nuremberg. You should know this. That is always nice to share. And with Ambivation, we're based in Berlin and in Munich. So this is where you can also meet. Like in Munich, we are in Werk 1 and sometimes Munich Urban Collab. In Berlin, we are in Impact Hub and the Factory Berlin. Maybe you've heard of that. So let me know if you're there. So the presentation is a little bit about the entrepreneurial journey. So I want to share some learnings that I had. Maybe I have a few tips at the end for you. But also I think it's important to tell you a little bit like how things evolved, like where did they start and what happened in the end out of it. So the first example and the first step also I would like to tell you is like back in my studies in Nuremberg and later at TU Berlin, me and a lot of friends, they all asked the questions like, how do I find a co-founder? And especially, how do I find a complementary co-founder? And so what do you mean with complementary? Like a co-founder that has a skill that you don't have, that is complementing the team. So like the most frequent pattern is that the business guy is looking for the technical guy, or the other way around. Technical can be like a software developer, but it can also be like an engineer. Sometimes it might be a designer. And then you think about like, how do you do this actually? Then at the beginning, you have your own business idea. You try to find a co-founder. You learn, oh, it's difficult. As a student, tough time. And back in Nuremberg, there's the situation that the business guys are in Nuremberg and the technical guys, many of them are in the neighbor city, Erlangen. Hope many of you know this, both places. So it takes you like 30 to 60 minutes to get there. And I never had a lecture there, so I didn't even know where the students are and where the different lectures are. So it was quite a disconnect. Then, of course, over time, I found some people, but it didn't work out immediately. And in Berlin, I had a similar situation. And then actually, we started a student club there, which is also in Munich, Start Munich. And there I find my co-founder, which is a happy development. But then I find my co-founder and we tackled this problem. We were saying, how can we improve the situation of finding a co-founder? Especially as a young person, as a student, maybe you don't have the strongest network yet. And that's why you might say, like, how can you solve this problem? I would say, of course, if you have it, use your personal network. Maybe you already have a friend, a colleague, for years, talk to him. That's my recommendation, best way. Maybe you can also talk to friends of your network, maybe your network of, like second degree network. If that doesn't work, join events. Join events like this today. join them also physically, you might have a chance to meet your co-founder there. If both ways don't work, my experience was you should also use digital networks. And of course, you can use tools like LinkedIn, but you will not find whether people are interested into founding a startup and are open to an entrepreneurial ride, let's say, because not everybody is open to that entrepreneurial roller coaster. So that's why we thought, hey, we want to build a digital tool to address this. Going back to the title of this talk today, it's like, where do you start? So we started with a problem, and then we came up with a few ideas. And then actually we said, like, yeah, we want to make a matchmaking platform, a digital one, to address this. And as I found my co-founder, fun fact, he already built a software tool, but it was for events. And when we talked, he was like, yeah, we can work on this. I already have some ideas. And then we talked about it. And then some time passed away. And I think like 3 weeks later, I got an email. Chris, by the way, I have this first version online here. And I was like, huh, what? Basically, what he did, he kind of adapted the existing software he built over probably a few months or maybe years for events, and he adapted it to match it for co-founders. So basically, that's what we used to launch at that time, mitgründer.com. It's just the German word for co-founder. And that was our very first MVP. So you can imagine, I'm not sure, I never asked him, but maybe it just took him 1 or 2 days to change it. And we had our first MVP. Then we started to create a lot of content. We collected the co-founder opportunities and quickly became kind of the leading website in the German market. And then we realized, okay, it's really a problem that we're solving. And the solution matches because we heard from a few people that they find their co-founders there. So we thought, okay, now we build a real product. And then we built a real product with Foundario, actually, where we also rebranded the holding. One learning here, if you have a name like cofounder.com, mitgründer.com, you cannot do anything else than this topic. Nobody will understand it. So that's why it can be really nice to have a name that is not explicitly saying what you're doing. For every co-founder thinking about a business name, these decisions can be tough. Maybe you want to keep this in mind. And then, so from there we started and we launched Foundario. While launching, we already realized maybe there is more matchmaking problems where we can assist the founders. And we were also thinking about, why don't we add a new feature? Why don't we add a new feature saying like, by the way, here you can also find your next customer. Looking back, I think it was a good idea, but it didn't survive the first contact with the customer. So basically we started it, and at this time we didn't do it in a lean way. We started to build a feature, a lot of effort. And then we talked to the clients, and then we realized like, yeah, they liked the idea, but in practice, they were not willing to use our software. So we quickly learned that actually it's not working in that way. So then we assisted the process, still learned it doesn't work because the startups that were applying to these companies, they were not matching. They were too early stage. So we had to change again. And basically that's how, just to show you quickly, that's Foundario, which we built. We built it like 6-7 years ago in 2015 and started already before. It still works today. I'm very happy to hear that randomly when I walk into people, they will tell me, yeah, we found our co-founder there. So I'm very happy about that. If you've personally faced the problem of finding a co-founder, let me know if you have any questions or feedback. Also, I want to advise you or tell you Foundario is a do-it-yourself tool. So you create your own profile. You can create like a co-founder posting, but basically it's up to you to find your match. It's not like we have a magical algorithm that will find you a match. It's a little bit a do-it-yourself tool. And then from there on, we started okay, we also want to enable startups to get in touch with more customers and partners and maybe innovation partners. And as we saw, with Foundario, it didn't work. There were a few reasons why it didn't fit. We were thinking how to do it in the real way. So basically, we talked with so many companies. already in the time of Fondario, but also afterwards when we started Ambivation. And so we realized that actually what they really need is like somebody who's taking care of the whole process. Like starting with defining the problem, defining the challenge the company is facing, over like searching which startups are out there, up to the point when we set up the pilot project, for example. And that's why we built Ambivation. Ambivation is, I would say, it's not a startup by definition because it's not totally scalable, but we use a lot of technology to improve our work and make it more efficient. So maybe it's a little bit hybrid. You will learn more about this later. So I'm doing this quite for a long time, and I can tell you, like, the starting time was really tough. It's really a roller coaster to build this up, to learn which ways work, to get the right pricing working. But I think we hit a market niche that is relevant and important, and I think this market is growing. And just to mention, like, one citation from Munich, I don't get it totally right, but like from the it's similar to saying like companies like BMW, they cannot afford to build every innovation by themselves. They have to partner. So this is like close to the citation. And this is a reason why companies do more open innovation. And also with open innovation, companies have the chance to work with the best companies in the world in the dedicated topic. And of course, you cannot be in every domain the best company, from my personal opinion. So this is what we built. You can see here the result of the journey, let's say. The journey is still continuing, so we're changing a lot. Recently, we just developed a knowledge corner where we share a lot of knowledge about how to do collaboration between companies and startups. And we have a new small spin-off or something, but I will show you that later. Then from my personal story, the next step was that while doing Ambivation, I got to know by now a close friend of mine at Hannover Messe. It's the leading industrial fair. For everybody who doesn't know it, it's in Hannover. Okay, that was easy. So we got to know there, and we discussed about innovations in the sector of industrial IoT. And a little bit later in our relationship, we understand that actually there is a big challenge that many companies don't understand what is the benefit of IoT, Industrial Internet of Things. So we were discussing, like, how can you explain more the benefits of industrial IoT? And how can you thereby enable successful innovation? Because, of course, if you and the management understands what is the benefit of IoT, then you will also get started and go and do it. So we started with a lot of conversations. And then at some point, we started with some, let's say, blog style, like some WordPress, where we just started to tell, like, what it means IoT. How do you start it? We started with some definitions and some easy explanations. But then over the conversations, so at the beginning, we didn't really build a product. At the beginning, we just focused on talking with a lot of clients, understanding their needs, like potential clients, obviously. At that time, they were not clients. And through that, we realized a lot about what is their needs. And then at some point, we started like with the first product and like try it out. And because we realized that these companies are quite interested to show what innovations they have been building, so that they might attract even more customers or more feedback to improve their innovations. And that was like the starting point of the company is called by now IoT Use Case. I'm sorry, currently the website is still German, but I think I'm not sharing a secret here. We are also working on an English version of the website. So basically, the website explains you what is the benefit of IoT solutions. And there have been a lot of ups and downs, obviously, like whenever there is in the right. You cannot imagine how often we change things and we said, we have to rebuild the product, we have to rebuild the landing page. And maybe one learning I want to share from this is it's really difficult to learn what is the communication you have to use towards your persona, towards your customer, towards your user, so that they understand what you're telling. So it might sound so obvious, and maybe if you read this, hopefully everybody understands it, and you will say, yeah, totally makes sense. But probably we had like a lot of iterations there. I cannot even estimate how many we had. And then, of course, by now you see there are 65 partners. So, of course, that is a great development over the last, I think, 2 years, something like that. And yeah. Then, and this one is actually my role there is more like I'm supporting. I was assisting right from the beginning, but like by now I'm more like a little bit advisor and supporting there, because and another learning, I think personally, one should focus and not do too many things at the same time, or at least know his priorities. And so for me right now, Ambivation is my priority. So you need to know how to set them. And a last example that I want to talk about is like a friend of mine and in Berlin. He is working on the topic of circular economy, and he was wondering like, how can we make, let's say, the world more circular? And I think he's very vision driven also. Like, I think for our society, it's a very important topic also. And we have been discussing a few things, and I like to support the startup here. Let me show it to you. It's called Fix First. Actually, it's good for you also to see they have been batch of the Tech Founders program, where they have been connected with a few potential clients. Yeah, based in Berlin. But I can tell you it's also very difficult. You can see also when you search the website, you will see there have been different versions of it, and you have to iterate your business idea a few times to really hit the market fit. And that is not very easy. So I can just advise you, start to talk to your customers, your market, as early as possible. Yeah, I will get back to this later. And maybe like the most recent step in my personal entrepreneurial journey is that there is this question like how to enable startups and entrepreneurs to be successful. And I think most of you already know it, maybe even personally, and everybody else who joined right from the beginning of the session got the introduction to Explore. I think it's a great incubation program. I'm personally mentor there. And I think it's really a good setup. So everybody who didn't look at it, really have a look at it and learn more about it. I will summarize this a little bit with a few key learnings that I would like to share with you. And maybe this will be a starting point also for questions later. So first of all, maybe you know Steve Blank. This is an example of a video with him. And he coined the term, get out of the building. So what it means is don't stay at your home in your home office and stay quiet and just think that your idea is the right idea. And basically he's telling like talk to your persona, to your user, your customer, to your market, and understand how they think about your idea. Because basically your thoughts might not be the same like your customer or your audience's thoughts. So it was also very helpful for us with Foundario, for example. We talked to so many entrepreneurs, founders. We talked to the young founders without the idea, but we also talked to the serial entrepreneurs. And then we learned way better, like who is our customer actually? Because not all entrepreneurs and students are our customers and users. There is a certain segment of it that is the perfect fit, let's say. And these things, you will learn a lot about it. Also, in terms of getting out and talking to your customers, for all B2B startups, a small project that we started recently might be helpful for you. It's called startup-challenges.com. There you can find companies that publish challenges that they are facing and where they are looking for innovation partners. So on the one hand, you might get feedback from them because you can talk with them. On the other hand, they might be your next customers. So have a look at it. Typically, it's about pilot projects, but if you do a good job there, maybe you can work together later. And the tool is for free, just to mention that. We put a lot of effort into having a very good global overview of startup challenges there. My second learning for you is, which I already mentioned, like prioritize your product market fit over other things. And I'm really saying over other things. In this example, it's an article from Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z, where they used this image. It's really about focus your market over everything. And in this case, they're even talking about your team. And it makes sense because only when you understand what your customer needs, you can finally decide what you need in your team. Only then you will know, do I need like an AI software developer who is super sophisticated and super, maybe also super raw? Or maybe we do start without an AI developer and only add later somebody. Or do we need like a business guy with experience in selling to corporates or in selling to small, medium-sized companies? There is a lot of things you will just learn by talking with your market and customers. So it makes a lot of sense to start with this. And the more progress you make in that, you can take care of other things. And I would, maybe you want to Google about premature scaling. It's like a term that you do scale your company too early. And that is one of the most frequent reasons why companies fail. Of course, you want to make your company big and maybe you get investment funding. But if you make it big on the wrong model, on the wrong business model, the chance of failing is very high. And it might be even more difficult to redirect. And last but not least, I think the most important learning for entrepreneurship is, as an entrepreneur, you just do it. And you learn and grow on the go. So I would like to invite you, if you have any intention, you see a problem in your daily life, observe the problems, write it down, and just do it and get it started. From my experience, if you can dedicate 1 day a week, that's how you can get started. And everything afterwards will follow. You know, when you see there's customers that want to pay, you can quit your job and go full-time. If you don't have any customers, no accelerator, no investors, maybe you don't want to start with full-time. Maybe if you don't have to bother about money, you might do it also early on. But from my experience, 1 day is the minimum to get off the ground, let's say. If you have any questions, also that's how you can reach me. The topics on the right are where I'm most profound in, what we take care of with Ambivation. But also, if you have some entrepreneurial questions, feel free to reach out to me. So from my side, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. I'm looking forward to your questions. You can either ask them now, you can connect me on LinkedIn, or for all the startups that are in the Explore program, let me know. I'm there as a mentor, happy to help. Thank you.